I'm sorry I missed last week. And I just wanted to check in with everybody and find out how it all landed for you when you went home. I know it's been 2 weeks now since we met, but does anyone have anything they wanted to share from that session? No? Maybe it's too far away.
Um, yeah,
Yeah,
I can share from the
sure.
first couple weeks ago. Um, I think after the meditation we did, I felt I felt um good. Yeah.
So you found it helpful?
Yes.
Okay.
I was calm and I got this sense of well-being.
Ah, and is that something that's an unusual state of mind for you?
It's a little bit unusual, yes. I don't keep that sense of well-being all the time.
Oh, okay.
It's always sort of like I'm always with anxiety and stress or thinking.
Mhm. Okay. And was anyone able to do any practice this kind of over this last couple of weeks? Did you try? No? Okay. It,
I don't know if you can address that, but that's one of my main problems is I feel like I have an obstacle to practice, to actually getting started.
and I think you're really not the only one. And part of it is because we all have these very, very busy lives and we're human and we're living in the West. And it's not something that's considered as important as other things. So if you go to live in a different country, say for you're in somewhere like Thailand or Burma, you know, they have a priority in those countries for things like, oh, I'm going to do a meditation retreat for 10 days. And it seems to be something similar that something that's kind of in the culture. You can kind of feel it in the air. So it's not that foreign, but here we're just used to going a million miles an hour and we all have all these different responsibilities. And it's really hard to carve out a little bit of time in the day to sit down and practice. You're so not alone. So we can talk about ways in which you can help yourself with that. Actually, I'll do it now. And I'll get to you in a minute, Gabe, because I know you had your hand up. One of the things that they suggested, when I first started practicing, was to set up a little space for yourself somewhere, a physical space, somewhere in your house, if you're able to, or even a little space in your house behind a screen, so that that is your place where you go and do your practice. And in that spot, you can maybe have some images there, maybe something that inspires you, maybe a Buddha, if you consider yourself Buddhist, or even if you have a place out in the kind of nature where you like to go that's close by, and you can just go and sit there. So, and you don't have to do more than about 5 minutes. It's just a matter of reminding the body and the mind what's helpful. And once you start to get into this kind of habit, because we have this habit of, oh, I've got to get up and have a shower and run out. You wouldn't think of leaving your house with your curlers in your hair or in your dressing gown. You prioritize your shower and getting dressed before you walk out the door because it's not considered normal to walk around in your dressing gown. So, we're like, of course I prioritize my shower. I need to go to work clean. Of course I'm going to prioritize my breakfast or my coffee. But all those things take quite a little bit of time to make and to do, right? Of course I'm going to put my makeup on. But you could have the same level of commitment to your own practice as you do to having a shower in the morning. It's just a matter of perception and views. Like, how do you view your practice? Is it as important to you as having a shower or making a cup of tea? So you can do it all. And after a while, you can do things like you can meditate just kind of while you're waiting in the doctor's surgery or at the dentist or for an appointment. It doesn't have to be this whole big deal that you kind of set up and sit down. Do you know what I mean? You can do it walking as well. That's a particular thing from the Theravada tradition, is walking meditation. So it's yeah, I would start with, perhaps you have the wish to, and the recognition that you have difficulty starting. So that's a really good place to start. You've identified a problem, or you've identified why you can't get where you want to go. And so, do you have any thoughts about that?
Well, like you said, I always make a priority for tea in the morning. Like I
Right.
tea no matter what.
But you can do both.
Yeah, so I think I will. I think, like I get up out of my bedroom and then I come into the living room, I drink my tea, I turn on the TV. I think maybe I should just drink a glass of water and go, when I get up and wash my face and then just go directly to the meditation. If I'm, but sometimes I'm a little bit still sleepy when I wake up, so then I want the tea, but then I get distracted by the TV and, whatever else I'm doing. So maybe I should not turn on the TV and just sit for a few minutes to wake up and then go and
Yeah.
meditate.
What you could do is just splash some water on your face, have a glass of hot water, cup of hot water. And in order for you to do that, you could maybe put it in a thermos the night before. So you have a thermos of hot water, and then just go sit down for 5 minutes.
Why
And
hot water?
it's quite good for the body. I mean, this time of year, cold water isn't that great to be drinking, but hot water is actually quite a good thing for the body, particularly first thing in the morning.
Okay.
I don't know why exactly, but I'm understanding for your health. My
Okay.
grand
I'm gonna make a commitment to every day for the next week until we have our next session. I'm gonna get up, have the hot water, splash the water on my face, and go directly to the meditation. And I
Fantastic.
report back.
And sit there for 5 minutes. Yes, sir.
Thank you. I need
You-
somebody to be accountable to.
yeah, you can time yourself as well.
Yes, I have a timer.
Yeah. Okay. And then after that, you can turn the telly on and go make yourself a cup of tea.
Okay, great. Thank you.
And the other thing too is, of course, when I was sick, I wasn't really listening to what was I listened to the New York Times podcast in the morning. It's always very interesting to find out what's going on. And I hadn't listened to it for a week. And then I turned it on yesterday and I was a bit disturbed by what I heard. So I don't know. I was just like, oh God, what's going on? So I'm not sure even if it's helpful to watch television right now.
Yeah,
So
I agree. It's all bad news.
it's all a bit unusual. And yeah, I can't keep shaking my head, wondering if I'm in the right country. Anyway, so I just wanted to address that as well. Okay, thank you so much, Mary.
Thanks.
And Gabe, what did you want to share?
Oh, just that it was really helpful when you suggested that we only focus on one particular I guess like place where we notice our breath, like whether it be the base of the nostril or the gut or the chest, um, to not move throughout different areas, whether it be like in the throat or the top, like the upper lip, like just stay on one, and that's been really helpful. So that was like just a really good thing that stuck with me, and it's made a difference in my meditation practice for the past couple weeks.
Great to hear. Yeah, because I think we're just so happy to get distracted. If we start then thinking we're going to move around the body, it's yeah, it can be a bit distracting. Okay, cool. All right. Anybody else have anything they want to share? Jacinda? Hi.
Hi. Hi. Yeah, I wasn't as successful practicing, but I did do the touching meditation after work one night. Like I ended up taking a bath because I really have a hard time relaxing after work, kind of like calming down, even though I'm tired. But so I took a bath and then that kind of helped me get into like a more relaxed state. And then I added the kind of doing that touch and that was helpful. And I felt like I slept better and things like that. So yeah, hopefully. And I like that you talked about like just 5 minutes because I feel like a lot of times I think I have to do it for a really long time and then I don't. So yeah, that I think just a few minutes in the morning, maybe before I go out, and then or even just telling myself because I feel like it's more at night. Like if I could just say like, okay, you're gonna come home and just 5 minutes and focus on the breath or something. Yeah.
And then I think they always, all the lamas always say is stop the meditation when it's good. Don't wait for the meditation to get boring or bad or distracted.
Oh, okay.
Because after a while, you'll come to your cushion and you'll look at it and you'll be like, you won't want to go there. So, so the suggestion also is if you get to the end of your 5 minutes and you feel like you're having a good meditation and you would like to do some more, then you can do another 5 minutes. But, stop, have a little wriggle, and eventually you'll build it up. But I think just start with that 5 minutes. And even if 5 minutes feels too long, do 3.
Mhm. Okay.
Yeah.
I guess I just want to add to that because I started meditation with like using apps and like even YouTube has like meditations on it. And so, but now I feel like it's almost distracting because I'll go get my device and then
Right.
I'll easily like end up somewhere else. So I'm trying to just be able to do it on my own because I think that's, you know, then I'm reliable on myself, not like looking for something else to help me meditate. But anyways, so maybe just the few minutes by myself will be the key.
Without any time. Yeah.
Yeah.
But we do have this innate capacity to meditate and go inside. I mean, people have been doing it for centuries, if not since millennia, probably since we all first landed on I don't know, forever. And these techniques that we're doing are ancient. Someone didn't just make them up last week, So anyway, thank you, everyone. Urs and Bay, you guys okay? Nothing to report? Okay. All right. So this week we're doing session 2. We're a week behind. We'll do our last session. I think, what did you say it was which 14th of February?
15.
15th of February. Okay. Because next week we're only doing 4 sessions here. We only get 4 sessions. Okay. So next week will be our 3rd. And the week after will be 4 and 5 squashed in together. All right. I can do that. It's easy. All right. So this week we're going to be looking at this idea of mindfulness and introspection. So, as we talked about last week, mindfulness sort of allows your mind and your attention to stay engaged with a familiar object without losing contact with it or getting distracted somewhere else. And, last week we looked at the breath, we looked at touch, and the strength of the connection between mindfulness and its object depends on how much familiarity we have with that object and the associations we've built up in relation to it. So the more familiar we are with an object and the stronger the associations, emotional or otherwise, the better our mindfulness is. The better we're able to keep that object in the foreground of our attention. And our concentration deepens. So the implication for our practice of mindfulness is to take care in building up that familiarity and strong associations through repeatedly returning our attention to our chosen object of mindfulness. So much so that our attention just naturally gravitates towards it. And this kind of becomes an effortless experience of mindful connection. And it's nothing to do with how hard you push yourself or how we want to force our mind to kind of conform to our wishes. It's a, meditation is like, it's really a natural, it's a natural thing. Focusing, concentration is a natural quality of our mind. So in this practice of mindfulness, we also can make use of another natural ability of the mind, which is introspection. And introspection is like a spy, kind of checking and monitoring how our mind and body are doing in meditation. So it's our introspective awareness that alerts our mind being distracted away from our object of mindfulness, or it being overwhelmed with dullness or drowsiness. So I also like to think of this, in Sydney, there's there's these very, very high cliffs, and you can walk along the edge of them, but if you look over, if you go too far, you can fall off. And it's a long way down. So this kind of little path on the edge of this, on the, that you can go on. It's tiny. I think they've probably got it fence up by now. But I always imagine, I'm walking along that path with a child, maybe a 2 or 3-year-old, and kids when they're at that age are not necessarily 100% reliable at keeping focused on you. So you have all the time, the mother is, you could say, is the introspection. And the mother is just keeping her eye out constantly on what that little kid is doing. So your introspection is constantly keeping an eye out on what you are doing, what your mindfulness is doing, what your concentration is doing. So this is how I kind of think about introspection. It's a bit like a mother. And so, of course, so that if the kid kind of decides to run off towards the edge of the cliff, the mother's going to yank that child back. So it's the same here. Our introspection enables us to quickly return our attention to the object of our mindfulness, and then strengthening mindfulness, because you're constantly bringing your mind back home. And the stronger our mindfulness, the easier it is to notice deviations. So the more the mother is, yeah. So when you're fully concentrated, you'll notice quite quickly when you no longer are. For me, my experience often is it takes it takes a minute or so for me to realize, oh, my mind's traveled. I don't personally notice it instantaneously. But you will notice after you've been meditating for a while, there is a contrast between being attentive to the object, being sleepy, and being distracted somewhere else. So the strength of your introspection will increase in step with that of your mindfulness. So, these two qualities will mutually support one another. So what we're going to do now is go back to the body scan meditation and identify this kind of function of engaging our attention with the subtle bodily sensations at the different parts. And we'll do it over and over again as the practice of mindfulness and that of noticing distraction or dullness during the meditation, and use that as your practice of introspection. So when you do notice you're being distracted or you've gone a little bit sleepy, Simply acknowledge these as a normal part of the process of cultivating mindfulness. And gracefully, without frustration or upset, return our attention to the bodily sensations. Okay, so we'll go do that again. And everyone have any questions before we start? Nope. Okay, so let's just settle ourselves into a nice, comfortable seated posture. Can have both feet flat on the floor. If you're not sitting in a cross-legged position, you're sitting at your desk. If you are sitting in a cross-legged position, my suggestion would be that you have your sits bones supported by a cushion or a zafu, just something to help you straighten your pelvic area. Have your hands either in the meditation mudra with the right hand nestled in the left and the kind of thumbs touching, both hands resting on your thighs and your shoulders aligned with your hips. Try and align your ribs with your hips and your ears with your shoulders. And imagine you have this beautiful string of pearls of light that stretches from the base and just goes all the way up through the crown of the head and beyond. And just imagine you're lengthening your spine, you're putting some space in between those vertebrae. Just imagine you're relaxing your body from your crown all the way down to your feet. And I won't go through that process right now because we'll do it in this meditation. So now bring your attention to the breath, noticing the sensation of the air as you inhale and exhale. So you may notice the sensations of the air flowing in and out of your nostrils. Cool air as you breathe in, slightly warmer as you exhale. Or you may notice the expansion and contraction of the chest area, the thoracic region. As you inhale, your diaphragm drops. As you exhale, it rises, pushing all that kind of like, stale air out of the body. It does this exchange. You may also feel the rising and the falling of the belly. And be aware of any sensory information in your environment. Sounds, smells. And just allow it to be there. Try not to follow with the mind. Then be aware of what's in your mind this afternoon. And be curious about what's there. Try not to judge what you can see. And just put some space in between the thoughts. Be objective. And because this is a Tibetan Buddhist center, let's think a little bit before we start the meditation about this idea of equanimity. It gives us a little bit of an intention as to why we're doing these practices. So this is the very first step in developing bodhicitta. So many of you may have just heard this word about compassion. Bodhicitta is just a little bit one step further, but you know, it's right at the end of the teachings on the Land Rim. And they say it's at the end because it used to be quite secret, these teachings. Anyway, the first step is to think about equanimity. So you think about your friend, your loved ones, your family, these people we adore. We have deep, profound relationships with these people. And then we have strangers in our life. You know, someone you maybe sit in the bus with, the people you pass on the freeway, down in your local store. And then there's people in our life that we just are irritating, or we just don't like, or they're mean to us. And really, these relationships actually are interchangeable because this is the world we live in, the samsaric world that is full of impermanence. And despite how we might feel about any one of these particular people at any one particular time, they are all equal because they're just like you and me. We all want to be happy. We don't want to suffer. And we all have, whether we believe it or not, this extraordinary capacity for a Buddha mind. So we think we'll do this meditation, this whole class today, for the benefit of all these people of our life, and by extension, all sentient beings. So bring your attention now to the crown of your head and just notice the sensations there. You might notice a bit of tingling, a feeling of slight pressure or warmth or coolness, or maybe nothing at all, and that is also perfectly fine. And then notice the sensations on the forehead, the eyebrows, the eyes, the nose, the cheeks, the mouth, the back of the tongue, the jaw, the temples, the ears. Are you tensing up any of these muscles? Can you very gently relax these muscles and let in a different feeling, maybe one of softness and ease and comfort? into your face. Just very gently invite your attention to come back to your neck and your throat. And just notice the sensations there. The back of the neck, the front of your throat. Move down to your shoulders now. How are they feeling today? Are you feeling tense? Maybe you can just shrug your shoulders up for a minute, hold it there, and then just release them. And then maybe do it one more time. Shrug your shoulders up. Maybe massage your little base of your skull a little bit, and then just relax your shoulders. Just allow some softness to come in there. And if you do notice any tension or discomfort here or elsewhere, can you simply acknowledge that discomfort for the time being? You don't have to change it immediately for the better. Now allow your attention to flow down both arms at the same time. And as you do that, just notice the simple sensations in your upper arms, both your elbows and down to the forearm, and finally arriving in both your hands. So you may feel the palms on your knees or in each other, depending on how you're holding your hands. So just notice the sensations in the palms, the back of the hands, and in your fingers. And having activated all these sensations into awareness, can you rest both arms and hands on their physical support and release their weight into gravity? Now make your way back up to your chest, that thoracic area, and your heart chakra. And what do you find there? Can you feel the breath along with other sensations? And as you notice your natural out breath, can you take this opportunity to release and just allow anything unhelpful or unwanted to flow away with the out breath? And bring your mind back to the same place your body is, and allow our attention to go deeper and lower until we arrive at our abdomen. And rest your attention within your body at the level of your navel, perhaps a little bit lower than the navel and about 2 inches in. And notice the sensations there. Now feel the weight of your pelvis, maybe the tip of the coccyx. Base of the spine, and feel all the sensations there. And that pelvic bowl. And see if you can release the weight of your pelvis into its physical support, so your chair. And allow your pelvis, your sits bones, to rest comfortably there. Now allow your attention to flow down both legs at the same time. Notice the simple sensations there. Your hip joints, your upper legs, quads, your knees, down to your lower legs and your calves, and your feet. Feel the sensation at the base of the foot, the heel, the side of the foot, your big toe mound, your little toe mound, and all of your little toe pads. Can you feel the sensation of the surface of the foot, the top part of the foot? Maybe you have socks on, or your feet are in slippers. Or if your legs are crossed, maybe you can feel the weight of your upper leg on your foot. And having activated all these sensations into your awareness, can you rest both legs on the ground, whether it's your feet on the ground or your legs in a cross-legged position, and release their weight into gravity? So just rest your body in this posture and allow it to settle down and be comfortable here. So we'll meditate like this for 5 minutes. And just rest your attention, excuse me, with your body and your breath. Each time you notice yourself exhaling, use it as an opportunity to deepen the sense of release, releasing anything unhelpful and unwanted. Just release yourself much deeper into the present, into your meditation. And if you notice your mind has traveled, or when you notice you're starting to nod off, just very gently bring your mind back to the breath. You notice your mind is traveling, just very gently bring it back to the breath. And also check the position of your head. Have your chin neutral, not too far down, not too high. With a little bit of length in the back of your neck. Okay, everyone, just relax. Excuse me, have a little wriggle. And a drink of water. That's what I need to do. Does anyone have anything they want to share about that meditation, or just anything you'd like to say before we move on?
I found it much easier to relax, because we relaxed the body and then I was able to follow the breath in, out. And it was much easier to actually do it, since the body was relaxed. But I've heard other meditation instructions where the teacher, or where they say that you should hold onto the object tightly, like that you're focusing on, like the breath. So, but this seemed to be a little bit, more like relax the body and then let the meditation happen. So I was just wondering if you had any comment on that.
I've never been taught to hold tightly onto my focus. It's really a matter of probably semantics, honestly. I think what they're saying is try and hold that focus as best you can, or as intensely as you can. Some people say intensity. I don't like that word either, because it implies something's going to make you anxious. So I think, here it's just I think you just have to find the words that work for you, and I do agree. I think it's like, I mean, because I know Bay's a yoga teacher, but when you start your yoga practice, for example, by opening certain parts of the body, that you're actually going to move into what do they call it? Peak pose, or whatever it's called. You have to sequence the yoga so that you're opening those different parts of the body first. And you'll notice it makes a huge difference. If you try and jump into a pose without opening the body or releasing any tension in the body that you may have just from walking from the car or sleeping overnight or whatever, it's not going to work. And you'll also find that your balance is better if you've when you're doing a pose in yoga, when you're balancing. I don't know if you do yoga, but anyway, I'm not sure why I'm using that analogy, but I think it definitely works. The body works a lot better if it's relaxed. The mind can work a lot better if the body's relaxed, I feel. But some people would argue one feeds into the other and vice versa. But for you, it works that way around, and that's great. But I think at the beginning of every meditation, you'll probably find someone directing you to relax and release certain parts of the body. Yeah. Anybody else? Nothing else? No? Okay, let's keep going. So what we're going to look at now is working with distraction and dullness. So, we all know what that is. So once you start, I think you mentioned this, Mary, once you start paying attention to our experiences, including the body, once we start focusing in on the sensations in the body, we start to become aware of how our attention does not stay where we want it to. It does not stay on our object of focus, our object of mindfulness. And there are processes that interrupt and draw our attention away. And these fall into two broad categories. And one is dullness, which we all know about. It's like we're just sleepy. And the other is distraction. I think, Jacinda, you mentioned that when you were saying you were using your app as a, and then all of a sudden you found that there was more interesting things to look at on your phone, which is always the way. It's like, oh, I'll just start my meditation. And by the way, I wonder what so-and-so's doing. Yeah. So dullness refers to the loss of alertness and vividness of attention. I mean, when I first started doing these Vipassana courses, I would have the best sleeps in the meditations. It was just so blissful, but I really wasn't meditating. I was kind of sleeping and spacing out. And anyway, so this includes experiences of drowsiness and sleepiness and spacing out, blanking out of the mind, darkness and fogginess of the mind, and an overall lack of energy of the mind. And the mind is not as clear and alert as it can be in engaging with its object. So you're just kind of sitting there, spacing out, having a little sleep. And this can happen quite a lot when we first start meditating. Because I think sometimes for many people, they don't ever give themselves a space to sort of sit down and relax. And I think I don't know if I said to this group, but I have one woman in the class that I do at the YMCA here in Marin. And without fail, I mean, the first class she came to, she snored. She fell fast asleep within about 5 minutes and snored quite loudly throughout the whole session. So it's got to the point now where I have to sort of explain to everybody, if the person next door to you is sleeping or snoring, you're very welcome to just give them a little nudge. As one person complained that I wasn't controlling the snoring. Anyway, but for me, I felt that this was the first time this person actually had an opportunity to just come and completely let go, be who she is, and fall asleep in class. And I felt very happy for her that she felt safe enough to do that. So I really didn't mind it. So distraction refers to the movement of attention away from the object of mindfulness towards bright, shiny objects, sounds, thoughts, and other experiences. And it's almost like we are, TikTok, for example. You can just watch 1,000,001, like 10, 15-second videos, one after the other. Must be so, I don't know, is it really bad for your brain to just kind of flip through like that? I don't know. Sometimes I find TikTok interesting because it gives you news from other places that I don't get news from. So I find it curious, and I like all the animal things, but anyway. In a way, we're living in a world that encourages us to be constantly distracted. So distraction represents an excessive amount of energy in the mind. And it just prevents our attention from settling down and stabilizing on the object of mindfulness. And the most common type of distraction, which greatly contributes to our stress levels, is due to our compulsive involuntary thinking. And that refers to so many thoughts that capture our attention and just keep it involved in matters of the past or imagery of the future. And it, without it actually being based in reality. And it's often accompanied by various emotional responses, which we get tied up in and we start to believe, which is just that's kind of super ridiculous. So when you're working with distraction and dullness, it's important to highlight that the process of developing mindfulness involves becoming aware of the various reactions that are affecting the functioning of our body and our mind. And this initial discovery and the enhanced awareness of the uncomfortable sensations in the body, as well as dullness or distracting thoughts affecting the mind, may be frustrating, may be disappointing. But it's actually a sign of progress in our practice when you start to notice what's going on. This also means that you're more in touch with what's happening. And then, of course, you can take steps to remedy the situation. So with the help of a practice like mindfulness of breathing, and by repeatedly and gently returning our attention to the simple breath sensations in our body, we can begin the process of weakening our old habits of dullness and of distraction. So I want to tell you a story about Venerable Roger, who lives down at Karma, was it? Land of Karma Abiding, which is down south a little bit further. So Venerable Roger he's done many 3-year retreats. And so he did a 3-year retreat in a deity called Yamantaka, a big blue angry guy. And he came out and went to see Rinpoche, Lama Zopa Rinpoche, our teacher. And he said to Rinpoche, I'm more angry than when I went in. Done a 3-year retreat, done a million mantras, and I have this uncontrollable anger. And he was seeing it all, and he was so upset and so disappointed and so worried. He spent 3 years of his life, and he came out more angry than he went in. And Rinpoche was just delighted. He said, fantastic, the dirt has to come out. So what Rinpoche was saying was, wow, you got to see your mind. I mean, how awful. It was like, oh gosh, that's my mind. Anyway, I think all of us have that mind. But so don't be disappointed or discouraged and also just maybe in a way rejoice if you start to see things that are not super comfortable for you. It's likely it's going to arise, and you're going to notice it, and you will have patience with yourself, and you will be curious about what's there. So you have this attitude of curiosity. It's like, oh, I didn't know that was in there. How interesting. And try and be objective. So you don't give yourself a hard time for what's inside there. The best thing is to be kind and compassionate. It's best to be seeing it than, to wait till you're kind of full flight in an unreasonable argument with someone. It's much better to catch it before. So now we'll do, let's have a 5-minute bio break, and then we can come back and have a little chat, and then we'll do a breathing meditation. Okay. All right. 5 minutes. Welcome back, everyone. Okay. Did anyone have anything you'd like to share from that meditation?
Well, I had discomfort in like my hip flexors and my mid back, and I just kind of breathed into it, and it decreased. I was able to breathe through discomfort, which was nice. I'm just starting to get that um, from practicing.
Fantastic. Well done. Okay. It's great when you start getting some positive feedback from, because it's encouraging, you know, you can actually, yeah. Okay. Thank you for sharing that. Anyone else? No. No? Okay. All right. Okay. So now we're going to look at breath meditation. So this one I find personally very, very useful. And we have, just over 40 minutes left. So we'll see where we get to at the end of this. I'd like to introduce you to this alternate nostril breathing, 9-round breathing, they call in our particular tradition. It's very, very helpful. And it's also a breath meditation, a little bit more advanced, but we'll see. Shouldn't take very, and you can do this particular 9-round breathing in about 5 minutes when you know what you're doing. So I hope we can have time to do that. But let's just start our breathing meditation. And, you are going to place your attention on the sensations of the breath. So the emphasis will be on the mindfulness of the simple act of repeatedly returning your attention to the breath sensations, along with noticing the presence of dullness, including sleepiness or distraction, such as involuntary reactive thinking. And then we'll practice letting go of these unhelpful reactions when we release our breath, when we exhale. So just settle into a nice, comfortable seated posture. Allow your spine to settle comfortably and lengthen the spine. And remember, keep your shoulders aligned with your hips, and imagine the spine going from the base all the way up through the crown of the head with some space in between those vertebrae. Allow your shoulders and shoulder blades to drop down. Relax the crown and the face and your arms and legs. Feel the base of the feet on the floor. And notice areas of softness and ease, relaxation, comfortable feelings. And can you welcome these feelings and allow yourself to enjoy them while they're there? You may also notice sensations of tightness. And can you simply acknowledge them? Don't feel that you have to change immediately. You might notice that it changes by itself. And go back to the face and notice whether you're tensing up any of the muscles in the face, the forehead, around the eyes, the jaw. And can you very gently relax these muscles and let in a different feeling, one of softness and ease and comfort, into your face. And can you allow this softness and ease and relaxation to spread on its own to the rest of the body, helping your body to settle into meditation in its own time. Among the different bodily sensations, see if you can highlight those sensations associated with breathing. So some of you may notice those subtle sensations around the outside of the nostrils, the base of the nose. The air is slightly cooler as you inhale, slightly warmer as you exhale. Some of you may notice the expansion of the chest cavity, the thoracic region, the diaphragm moving up and down, the lungs expanding and contracting. Those are quite large sensations. And some may notice the belly rising and falling, the abdomen. So choose an area of the body where you notice the breath. So either the nose, the chest, the belly, and keep your focus there. Just choose one. And just allow yourself for a minute or two to experience your inhalation and exhalation. If you wish, you can count 4 and pause, and then exhale. And exhale for a count of 4. Notice the position of your head, by the way. Make sure you've got some length in the back of the neck. So now as you rest your attention here on the breath, each time you notice yourself exhaling, use it as an opportunity to releasing anything unhelpful and unwanted. In the same way we breathe out to let go of the stale air in our lungs. And if you wish, you can very gently just think or say the guiding word release each time you notice an exhalation. And this reminds you and also your body, it does not need to hold on to unnecessary tightness and contraction. Reminds your mind that it can let go of thoughts, memories, and fantasy that preoccupy it. It can also release states of dullness and drowsiness, allowing them to flow away with the out-breath. We're not forcing anything to happen. We're not pushing anything away. So we'll do this for about 5 minutes. You'll notice your attention has traveled, or you're feeling drowsy. Simply invite your attention back to the breath sensations and release on the out breath. Okay, we're going to do that again. So just relax. You can open your eyes and have a little wriggle. Maybe have a sip of water. So this is when you're on your own. This is the way you can do it, so you don't sort of start to disappear off into la la land. So then just settle back into your meditation. We'll do another 5 minutes. Noticing the sensations of the breath, just relax the body, align your seating position. Notice the sensations of the inhalation and exhalation. This time you may notice yourself going a little deeper, a little more focused. And if you're aware of any distractions or dullness, you can just release them with the out breath. Mhm. Mhm. Okay, everybody just relax and welcome Alice. Okay. Does anyone have anything that they would like to share? And even if you feel a little shy, sometimes you don't realize how helpful it is for other people as well to hear.
Hi.
Hi, Jose.
Yeah, so I think I learned a couple things.
Fantastic.
The first time, remember when I was in person, I had trouble being still
Yeah.
with my cross leg.
Uh-huh.
So it happened, the same thing happened, even if I'm sitting on a chair, I still have it. So I went back to the kneeling position, like a Japanese style.
Yeah, yeah. Was that helpful?
Yes, that's the best because otherwise my body, it's my push. Try to keep my back straight is painful. I mean, it's
Yeah.
not painful, but my muscles are not used to that,
Mhm.
so when I'm in that position, then I can finally relax.
Oh,
That's
fantastic.
number one.
Uh-huh.
And then I think that my body is always, or I would say my nervous system is most of the time is if I finish a big cup of coffee, I'm like it's on, and that causes me anxiety. And I notice that when I meditate, it just comes down.
Mhm.
It's kind of it's not on, all the time. So I like that. So, and that's what happened last time too.
You started to come down from the coffee
From
feeling.
from the coffee for the jolt, yes, which is almost, well, I drink a lot of coffee too. That probably makes sense too.
I was going to ask, and I'm wondering, would it be possible for you to reduce your coffee intake a little?
It
Could you?
is possible, but I'm weak.
I think it's causing you a bit of suffering.
It's true. Yeah, it's I think it's a little bit of addiction to get 1 or 2 cup of coffee every day.
You know, I have noticed I got sort of addicted to these lattes. I like to make my own, and I have a whole little ritual around it, and I make my own frothed milk, and I have a little coffee maker thing, little kind of on the one on the stove, and it just becomes a delightful thing for me to do, as well as I like the taste. But I haven't been sleeping really well, and of course I suspected. And then of course I like to have a cup of tea in the morning and a cup of tea in the afternoon. So between 2 cups of highly caffeinated tea and 1 cup of coffee, and then I'm like, oh, I can't sleep. And because my mind starts getting very, very busy. So when I got sick, of course I couldn't drink tea or coffee. I just felt way too sick. And so I guess I've been not drinking. I still have a little cup of tea in the morning, but I'm not drinking as much as I was. I'm sleeping a lot better. And I don't know if it's the fatigue just from being sick or if just giving up that extra caffeine. The other thing about caffeine is it makes you really dehydrated. So if you're not drinking enough water, or even electrolytes, you can also start to feel a little bit anxious. So anyway, that's just my experience, and all I can suggest is there are very good coffee alternatives out there that don't taste as good, but might be something to consider, even if you just try it for a week and see what happens. Just make it an experiment. It doesn't have to be something you got to do forever. But yeah.
I think that coffee, you said it right. It's causing me some suffering because that activates my nervous system. Yeah, I feel good, but then it left me with this jolt, with this feeling of anxiety, and then I noticed that I start thinking too much,
Mhm.
and I'm doing that. I'm drinking every day, so I drinking coffee every day. So it's yeah, I think I should probably stop that. Yeah.
Well, think about it anyway. If it's not really serving you, keep it as an experiment anyway, and see what happens.
Okay.
Okay, Jose. Mary, yes.
I am unable to drink coffee because I developed a heart condition, and I did some research and I found a coffee substitute called Teeccino. It's Teeccino, and you can get it on Amazon. You can buy sample packs, test the different flavors, and I love it. It has no caffeine and it has no acidity, and it's really fantastic. Because I loved coffee myself, but I just my cardiologist told me to stop drinking it. So it's really satisfying. So you might want to look into trying that. You can get it on Amazon.
Is it made of mushrooms? Because there's a lot of mushroom adaptogen type
It
coffee.
does have mushroom adaptogens. It also has barley and chicory and something else I can't remember offhand. But it's quite tasty. I love it.
Yeah.
I decided I'd let you know.
Mary, would you mind putting it in the chat so people can see it? Thank you. Gabe, you looked like you having a big sigh there earlier on. After we finished the meditation, you had a big, did I notice correct? Is everything, how's,
Yeah, I'm doing good. I noticed that my counting of 4 changes a lot. It'll get really slow, catch my breath, so it'll speed up a little bit. The first time I did it, the pauses between inhales and exhales were longer. And the second time I realized I could breathe, little pausing from breath at the top and bottom of the breath. I didn't have to do 2 seconds, do half a second or a second.
your microphone's a little unstable. So you want to just say that last bit again?
Okay, I just found that basically the first time that we went through it, it was taking very long pauses, top and bottom of the breath. And then the second time, it was just little short pauses, like half second, second long pauses. I just realized I don't have to count to 4 and then basically do 2 seconds without breathing. Like if you just be a pause.
Yeah, exactly. It's almost like I was suggesting like a suspension. You're not holding your breath.
And I like that release too.
Yeah, it's nice. Because you can actually just, I mean, there are other visuals. You can actually just imagine you've got this little bundle of thoughts and you can kind of put them on a little cloud and let that cloud take your thoughts away. But I also really like this idea of release, because it's just, you're just kind of not, you're not necessarily pushing anything away. You're not getting rid of anything, you're just releasing it. It doesn't serve you anymore, so you just release. Yeah. So we do have a little bit of time. I'd like to go through the 9-round breathing if anybody else doesn't have anything else that they want to share immediately. And has anyone done the 9-round breathing before? I expect Bay and Urs have done it, right? You've done it, Mary, as well. So different people teach it differently. The way I've learned was via Venerable Rabina, via Lama Yeshe. So this is the way Lama Yeshe teaches it, or did teach it. And I double checked it in his Ego Attachment and Liberation book as well. So now, because I'll be opposite to you, so you just listen to my words and do the best you can, rather than trying to copy what I'm doing, because I will be doing opposite to you. So you start, first of all, settle back into your meditation posture. And like I said, this is the most excellent meditation for getting yourself grounded. It's originally was taught by people doing the more esoteric practices in Tibetan Buddhism, but you'll also notice so it probably came from India. It's used in yoga practice, and it's called alternate nostril breathing in that practice. And they don't use any kind of mental, analytical processes in that meditation. This is something specific to our tradition, I think, to the Tibetan Buddhist tradition. So once you're settled, you can just very gently block the left nostril with the back of the right index finger and breathe in through the right nostril, blissful light. Just imagine you're breathing in a bunch of light. And if you wish, you can do a count to 4. And like Gabe said, it's going to change. You won't be counting the same speed every single time, but just imagine you're counting to 4. It's just so you can pace yourself. Don't breathe in fast and hard, because you will hyperventilate. You just breathe in, nice gentle breath. Pause at the top of the breath, and then just move your finger and block the right nostril, and then you exhale through the left. And imagine you're exhaling all of your unhealthy attachment and desire. And that leaves your body as thick, black, yucky smoke. And this can be all your addictions, all your not feeling good enough, all your anxiety. Just exhale all of that as thick, black, yucky smoke, and it just leaves the body. And then you repeat it 2 more times, breathing in through the right. Imagine you're breathing in light. Pause at the top of the breath, and then exhale through the left all your unhealthy attachment and desire. And that just leaves your body as thick, black, yucky smoke. And you don't breathe it back in, doesn't pollute anything or anyone, it just disappears. And then 1 more time, breathing in through the right, that light, and then pause, and then breathe out through the left, all your unhealthy attachments and grasping and neediness. Just breathe it all out, get rid of it. And you change hands. You take the back of the left finger, index finger, block the right nostril this time, breathing in through the left, light. Pause at the top of the breath, and then exhale through the right, all of your anger energy. So bitterness and grudges, unhappiness, jealousy, depression, disappointment. Just breathe all of that out as thick, black, yucky smoke. And then breathe in again, light through the left nostril. Pause at the top of the breath, and then exhale through the right, all of your anger. Just release all of that. Just get rid of it. And then 1 more time, breathing in through the left, light. Pause and then exhale through the right, all of your anger energy. Now rest both hands on your lap or in your lap. Breathing in this time through both nostrils, blissful, radiant white light. Pause at the top of the breath and then exhale through both nostrils, all of your ignorance energy. If you haven't studied this idea of karma and cause and effect and the idea of things not being exactly the way we think they are, you can just imagine exhaling anything you believe ignorance to be. Traditionally, it's about being ignorant of cause and effect, about being ignorant of karma, about being ignorant of this idea of what they term in Buddhism as emptiness. So just exhale all of that. Breathe in through both nostrils. Light. And then pause, exhale through both nostrils, all of your ignorance energy. Can be also dullness of mind. So breathe in light. Pause and then exhale all of your ignorance energy. So that's the first set. So we do 2 more sets and we repeat, starting again, breathing in through the right nostril, blocking the left nostril with the back of the right index finger. Breathe in, light. Pause at the top of the breath and then exhale through the left, all of your unhealthy attachments, all unhealthy desire, neediness, not feeling like you're enough, not feeling worthy, wanting lots and lots of attention, grasping. Just breathe all of that out as thick black yucky smoke. Repeat again, breathe in light. Pause and then exhale all of your unhealthy attachment. Breathe in light. Pause and then exhale all your attachment energy. Change hands, breathe in through the left nostril, light. Pause and then exhale through the right, all of your anger energy, bitterness, grudges, depression, vitriol, disappointment. Just breathe all of that out. Breathe in light through the left. Pause and then exhale through the right, all of your anger. Breathe in through the left, light. Pause and then exhale through the right, all of your anger energy. All this anger that we hold inside of ourselves is kind of poisonous. You really want to get rid of it. And now just rest both hands in your lap and breathe in light through both nostrils. Pause at the top of the breath and then exhale all of your ignorance energy. The dullness in your mind. Not appreciating this idea of this natural law. And breathe in light. Pause and then exhale all your ignorance energy. And one more time, inhale light. Fill your whole body, all your lungs with this light. Pause and then exhale all of your ignorance energy. And we do one more set. We do the final set together. So breathing in again through the right nostril, blocking the left. Breathe in light. Pause at the top of the breath and then exhale through the left. All of your unhealthy attachments and desires, neediness, not feeling enough. Just breathe all of it out. Breathe in light through the right nostril. Pause and then exhale through the left, all your unhealthy attachments and desires and addictions. Just breathe all of that out. And breathe in light. Pause and then exhale all your unhealthy attachment and desire. And change hands and breathe in through the left, light. And pause and then exhale through the right, all of your anger energy. And just really get rid of that anger, depression and bitterness and grudges and fury. Just breathe all of that out. Does not serve you necessarily all the time. Breathe in light. Pause and then exhale all of your anger. Breathe in light. Pause and then exhale all of your anger energy. Breathe in through both nostrils now. Blissful, radiant, white light. Pause at the top of the breath and then exhale all of your ignorance energy. Dullness in your mind. Breathe in light and then exhale all of your ignorance energy. And you might notice that you start to exhale to the point where your breath naturally does an inhalation, very gentle transfer from exhale to inhale. Inhaling light, pause, and then exhale all of your ignorance energy. And then inhale light one more time. Fill your lungs with this light. Pause and then exhale all of your ignorance energy, and it just leaves you as thick black yucky smoke disappears into space. And then when you finish, just rest back into meditation and feel. Just notice. Everyone just relax. How was that? Did you notice the difference between before doing the 9-round breathing and after? The quality of your meditation? Did it change at all? Or not? That's okay. Yes.
I really did. Yeah, I felt like it was, I don't know, like a flossing of my mind or something. And yeah, it just seemed more calm and yeah, less. I even felt like my body was more calm. Like the first meditation, I felt like there was a lot of like fighting. I wanted to lay down, and I don't know, everything just seemed much more settled with that. Yeah.
Thank you for that feedback. It definitely is a combination of controlling the inhalation and exhalation with the alternate nostril breathing, and also some analysis. So you're imagining, you are imagining you're getting rid of, they call those things delusions, too much attachment, too much unhealthy attachment, too much unhealthy anger, too much ignorance. It's delusions of the mind. And they lead us down all these kind of different pathways that we come to regret. Sometimes we take action because we think that this is true, these things that we're believing. So, and you'll notice if you ever do a Vajrasattva meditation, you're working on those delusions of attachment, anger, and ignorance. Yeah. So they also work on with the Vajrasattva meditation. We look at this idea of negativities of the speech, negativities of the body, and negativities of the mind. So anyway, the mind's a big deal, and yeah, I was very fortunate. I was invited down to Laguna Beach, which is in Orange County, Southern California, a few years ago. Kate McDonald, a friend of mine, was running a Dharma center down there at one point. And we had a little meditation group, and this woman very kindly lent us her studio, and this gorgeous place, Laguna Beach. But anyway, her husband was an actor. I mean, there's many actors down there in that area, and they were currently going through separation, and they had 2 children. And one of her children, anyway, they were talking about financing the kids to go on camp, and her husband wanted to use money that I think her mother or parents had given them for college. And he said something like, this one's never going to college anyway, so let's just use it for something else. And she was so upset by that because it was very derogatory towards that boy. And so we just done this 9-round breathing thing. So she decided, rather than respond to him, she took it upon herself to go and sit in her bedroom and do the 9-round breathing before she came out to speak. And she said it was a much better result than it would have been if she had just given him what for. And I was so impressed because she'd never done anything like that before. But she had decided that she was really aware of, I think the kids may have been there, so I think she was really aware of not wanting to create more discomfort for her children. So I can only say that she found it worked. And so if you find yourself getting distressed or stressed or can't sleep, you don't have to do it 3 times. You could, even if you just do it 1 round, you might find that it settles your whole nervous system fairly quickly. Yeah. So does anyone have anything else they want to share about that? Esther, I never hear from you. How are you over there? You're muted.
I guess I am a little shy of speaking in English.
Oh, okay.
Because I don't speak like perfectly, and then I get a little shy, I guess. But yes, no, I was wondering here while you were talking if like you have you heard like of many people saying that the meditation have helped them to get rid of their like anxiety and fears and this type of thing?
Meditation can certainly help, and it does take time. It doesn't work as quickly as whatever medications that you could take for those kinds of things, but I do believe it's probably an excellent thing to support you. So you may have, as Jacinda noticed, I mean, because we've been doing this now for 2 hours, right? So you probably feel very different now than you did when you first started. Jacinda mentioned she was feeling like, because she's not very well, I think you have a cold or something. So she wanted to lie down. Um, and sort of by the end of the session, she recognized it was more to do with her, with her body. Is that correct? Am I speaking correctly?
Yeah, just there was like, yeah, a lot of fighting, wanting to just I think go to sleep, kind of lay down, and but then I don't know, by this that the round the
9 round.
9 round breathing, my body and mind just everything just seemed like, okay, we can just be here and focus on breathing. Like, I don't know, just all seemed much easier. Yeah.
You're also controlling the breath when you're doing this 9 round breathing as well. So that does go a long way to helping calm you down, even if the simple thing that you can do is just take 5 breaths, sit down and, okay, I'm going to breathe 5 times in and out. That's helpful, even if you count inhalation 4, exhalation 4. So the balanced inhalation exhalation is also helpful for helping to settle the mind as well. Just maybe even focusing on the breath. Yes, I have heard people say, and I teach this class at the YMCA, and they're not Buddhists, these people. They're coming along because they heard it was a good idea. And we started with 7 people about 12 months ago. Now I've had to increase the class numbers to 25. And they've now given me another class. So I'll have 2 classes a week. And they may have to increase the numbers to 30. But it's so they're not, like I said, they're not coming along to practice a Buddhist practice. They're coming along they're finding something in the techniques that we're doing that are useful. And these techniques are ancient. 5,000 years old plus. So the fact that people keep doing it, and now Kaiser even have meditation teachers. I think I heard. So they're also acknowledging that it can calm anxiety, particularly people have chronic disease. Many different kinds of things can be calmed through doing meditation. But as I said, while you'll get immediate results now, by the time this evening comes and your old continual habitual thinking starts to kick back in again, by the time Jose has another cup of coffee tomorrow morning when he wakes up, a lot of the effects are going to be out the window. So it does take practice and confidence in yourself that you can do this. Your English is beautiful, by the way. You probably speak better than the rest of us here had to learn.
Thank you.
So, yeah, non-English speakers tend to know grammar better than we do. But yeah, so I think I can't promise you an overnight cure, but I can say to you that over time, if you practice consistently, do like Mary, get up, sit yourself down with a cup of hot water early in the morning where the energy is very quiet in very, very at first light. Things are really quiet. So that time of day is why they suggest you should is good to meditate at, early in the morning, just because the minute you open your computer and start looking at emails and start thinking about all the things you need to do, it's almost like it's impossible to get back there. So even if you do 3 minutes of just looking at your breath, that would be fantastic. And it will go a long way to help set the tone for the day. The other thing you can do is journal your experiences. Journaling is quite good. It's almost like Lama Zopa Rinpoche's sister. One time I went with her from Laudo, where she lives, which is up in the Himalayan mountains, across the mountain to Tamay, which is now, I think, unlivable because they had an outflow, whatever. And she, I was like, Anila, you're so far to go. It was like everything up there is steep and difficult. And she's like, Katy, don't look up. Look down. Look at where you've come from. And it's such a sensible thing to do, because if we applied that to our own life as well, we have a little bit of encouragement. So how they do it over there in Sherpa land is they'll look down and go, wow, I came all the way up from the river. That's fantastic. It's so far. And then this up here is a little bit more encouraging. So you can be a little bit like that with yourself as well. So if you do some journaling, you'll see where you came from, because guaranteed you won't remember. So if you start writing it down, then you'll feel a little bit more encouraged. Yeah. And then, so this week, you guys, we're at 4:00. So try again, you can do the body scan, you can do the 9-round breathing, you can, keep remembering this introspection. So you become aware of what's impacting your body and your mind. And in daily life, when you're walking around, just simply try this exercise of attending to the exhale and just thinking to yourself, release. So rather than reacting to a situation, or even rather than reacting to your own negative self-talk or your own anxiety, just interrupt yourself, release. And just kind of see where you can go with that. Of course, if you're hyped up on coffee, it's going to be a little more difficult, believe me. But if sometimes it's when you sort of think to yourself, release, it stops you from reacting. Okay, so experiment and see if you can find ways to de-escalate reactivities to things through your meditation. And you can bring to the next session, which will be next weekend, any experiences or issues or something you experienced. And maybe everybody else is experiencing the same thing. Does that sound like a plan? Okay, everybody. All right, lots of love. Let's just dedicate all the merit, all the positive energy we've created today to all those beautiful people in our life, and by extension, all sentient beings. Gosh, Gabe, I'm getting seasick there. Anyway, oh, we lost him again. All right, everybody, lots of love. Thank you so much, Bay. Thank you, Urs, you too, and thank you, Mary and Jacinda, and Esther, Jose, and Gabe, and lots of love. And I'll see you next weekend. Okay, take care. And
Good night.
Thank
You
you.
too.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
bye.